Hey, what's up, everybody? Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and follow us for more Third and Long content. Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Third and Long. I'm Arik Armstead. Getting into this week, just came off another game against New York Jets. Didn't get the win, but it definitely was a back and forth game, which you guys saw. You know, breaking down that game, kind of recapping that game before I get into some other topics. You know, for us defensively, obviously playing against, you know, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, Aaron Rodgers. Him and Davante Adams definitely had a vintage performance by them. You know, coming into this game, you know the talent level of those players. You've seen it, you know, for years and years, playing against it, competing against it. And, you know, going into a game like that, you know, they have kind of been struggling as well, too. And so, you know, you don't kind of want them to get back going or recreate some of that magic that they had in the past. But, you know, those guys are special players. And they have a special connection, and it showed up, you know, in our game. And they made a number of plays to, you know, end up putting them on top in this game. You know, I've been playing against them for a while now. You know, a lot of respect for A-Rod, you know, and Davante as well, but specifically A-Rod. You know, competing against him, you know, it's been a lot of fun battles throughout the years. We have a lot of respect for one another. And you know, I think he's the quarterback that I've sacked the most throughout my career. I think I got him about 6 or 7 times. And he's the type of quarterback, you know, that you put up there with, you know, the Mannings and the Bradys throughout the years. And so, you know, whenever you're playing against him, he's a guy that, you know, if you can get him, can, you know, put pressure on him, can sack him, then that's a you know, definitely top on the list of guys that you want to get. And so, you know, a lot of respect for him and a lot of respect, you know, mutual respect as well, too. And we got an opportunity to talk during the game. And, you know, we jersey swapped and finally got his jersey, you know, after 10 years of playing against one another. So that was cool to show mutual respect on, you know, the players that we've been throughout our careers and the players that in the games that, you know, have we've competed against each other. So, you know, for us defensively, you know, obviously though that was tough. You know, the connection between those guys. I think we did a good job for the most part stopping the run game. Once you allow them to establish that, and then, you know, they were doing a lot of play actions throughout the game, a lot of boots. So we did a good job stopping the run game and kind of making them one-dimensional. But, you know, in the end, I think we played solid defense, but it's tough, obviously, with A-Rod having the ball at the end of the game. In those situations that he's been in, you know, for many, many years. Those situations you got to execute and get off the field, and we didn't. You know, I think offensively, our offense, you know, did enough to win the game. You know, this was one of the games where our offense really controlled the ball, and we as a defense felt that. You know, it was a little bit different for us. You know, these past few weeks, we've been out there playing a lot of defensive snaps, because we're, you know, on the field all the time. But, you know, the offense did a great job this game controlling the ball, going on long drives, and it gave our, you know, defense a rest so we could play, you know, a little more fresh, which was great, I think. And I think it showed in our defensive play as well, too. And throughout the game, certain spells, I think we played great defense. But, you know, football always boils down to a few plays, and they made the plays when it you know, mattered the most in the clutch. And, you know, we didn't execute in those moments defensively. But offensively, I think they did a great job controlling the ball, mixing up run and pass. Mac made some plays out there. And, you know, Brian Thomas Jr., man, he set, I think this is probably my first experience, got to be someone setting 2 records in one game. He set the touchdown record for rookie receivers in Jags history, and also he set the yard record, you know, receiving yards for a rookie in Jaguar history. So, and it was literally like on back-to-back plays. So huge shout out to him, huge moment for him. He's been having an incredible season. We saw it, you know, really since day one in OTAs. I mentioned him on the podcast way back when. of a guy who I thought had special ability that was going to help our team tremendously, and he's definitely showed that. So congrats to him. A huge moment, special moment for him. He's, one of the best wide receivers in the league already. 105 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. For him on a big day to break 2 records. I've never seen, someone break 2 records in one day. So that was a first for me. And, he's just continuing his tremendous year. I've been around a lot of great receivers, and, I've been around a lot of great young, receivers as well too. Some, former great teammates of mine. But, when I saw him in OTAs and when he first got here, what really stood out to me was his tracking the deep ball and his ball skills, high pointing the football, tracking it in the air. It's a unique skill set. I've never played offense. I never played tight end, receiver, none of those things where I was catching the ball. But, him being as fast as he is, 4.3 speed, his catch radius, he's tall, he has long arms, but his also ability to track the ball in the air and make acrobatic catches deep down the field was special. And he's a super deep threat. And I think he showed that, from day one, beginning of his rookie year, but also, throughout the season, we've been utilizing him in different ways, whether that's sweeps or screens, and he's shown his ability to do that as well too and run more intermediate routes. And so I think his game continued to develop and grow, but day one, he's been special. He has a unique skill set to track the deep ball and make acrobatic catches. So another thing about BT, man, he's so calm, well-mannered, really just a humble, genuine young dude, man. He doesn't say too much. You see other wide receivers not getting the football. Typically wide receivers, are more known for being divas and stuff like that. But BT, man, he doesn't speak very much. He goes out there and he does his job, does what's asked of him. Very calm, very a cerebral type person, being around him, doesn't say too much, just goes out there and balls. And, that's kind of refreshing, and you can definitely appreciate that, especially, seeing how receivers typically are in terms of their antics. So it's great to see. It's great to be a part of. And also, you just want to root and cheer for him even more, because he's a really good dude as well. And it's time to, definitely his name's up there for Pro Bowl and All-Pro considerations as a rookie. Puka Nacua had a special year last year as a rookie and was an All-Pro. So if BT can finish strong these last 3 games, I think he's already in that conversation, finish strong the rest of the season. And, his name is definitely in those conversations to be an All-Pro, definitely, and being a Pro Bowler for sure. As a rookie is a special feat, and not a lot of people have done it. So, he's having a special year. He's a special player, special guy as well too, man. So congrats to him. We got 3 more games. I want to see him continue to elevate and take off on these last 3 games as well. Sticking together, continuing to stick together in these moments are very crucial, very key, I think. And as for us as players, man, I think that is definitely what is special about us, and all the turmoil and frustration and adversity and things kind of not going as expected this year. Us sticking together as teammates has been phenomenal, really. Supporting one another, really still believing in each other, not pointing the finger. Everyone truly, really just tired of losing and want to win. And we know that we need each other for that. So we got a special group of guys, special group of players that continue to support one another. And I've been places and seen things, heard things of, disarray in situations like this where it's dividing even the locker room and the players. And I'm happy that we're not in a situation like that, and we're able to still get together and support one another and, try to finish the season strong for each other, man. At the end of the day, right now we're playing to have a smile on our face when we come into the locker room and have a smile on our face, throughout the week, getting a win. So that's all we're playing for, continue to fight for one another. Obviously, we had some injuries throughout the season, and this is the next man up, league, and, definitely feeling for all the guys that have been injured But, with that, there's opportunities for guys to step up and show what they're capable of. And I think Brenton Strange has definitely done that this season in his moments where, he's had to step up. And Strange is a guy that even when I wasn't on the Jags last year was a guy that I noticed on film, a guy who you could tell that he loves football by the way he plays. At tight end, you can see that by the way a lot of guys attempt to block. At tight end, it's like, are they a willing blocker? Do they try to block? And Strange showed that on film when we were playing against him and, being his teammate now and seeing, his work ethic and how he approaches it and how much he loves it and stepping up, with his opportunities, with Evan going down. I think he's a guy that is definitely taking advantage of those opportunities and showing what he can do. And, really the NFL oftentimes is like that. It's 100% injury sport. And there's going to be times where you need guys to step up. And I think Strange has been doing that all year when he's had the opportunities in those moments. If you guys watched the game, I know you guys saw my guy, Big Jeremiah Ledbetter go crazy. Huge sack on Aaron Rodgers. Not only that did he get the sack, he did a backflip for his celebration. A guy who's 310 pounds doing a backflip in the moment on the field. Not even just 310. You got your helmet, shoulder pads, football pads, pants, cleats. All that stuff got away about like 25 pounds. So add on an extra 25 to that, hitting a backflip in the moment on the field. That was crazy. It went viral. NFL posted it everywhere. So huge shout out to Led. I've never seen that. You guys let me know if you've seen that in the comments before, but I've never seen. I think I've seen, little guys, receivers doing flips and stuff, but I've never seen a big dude like Led do a backflip. He's super athletic. That was a huge play. Congrats to him. Definitely shout out to him. If you guys didn't see it, go look it up. One of the craziest celebrations I've seen in the moment. Everyone was hyped for him. He came to the sideline. We all celebrated together. So that was definitely a special moment, something I've never seen on a football field by a big dude before. And, it's crazy being in these games. You always see something new, something exciting. And, that was crazy. Moving along to, news around the league. Obviously, there's been a huge conversation between Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Two great players, two guys that you definitely, don't want to play against all the time because it's like, dang, these dudes can really get a first down whenever they want with their legs, throwing the ball. Add so many challenges to a defense. Lamar is a multi-MVP, an amazing player, and Josh Allen as well, too. I've played against both, and they're hell to deal with for sure. But, as we're getting closer to the end of the year, there's MVP conversation. And, I think for me, I'm great with Lamar, winning MVP. He's been a multi-MVP. I definitely wanted him to win MVP, and he's a special player and a guy that I think that people gravitate towards and are really fans of. So, but Josh Allen this year specifically, I think he's had MVP caliber seasons in the past, but the way he has the Bills playing this year after this offseason, and, there's a lot of conversation of him losing his offensive weapons and all that. But, I wouldn't be mad if the MVP went to him, and I think he's definitely deserving of it. And it's good, refreshing to see, some new faces in the conversation as well, too. Saquon, I think, is in that conversation. I wouldn't be mad if he won MVP as well, too, the way he's, transformed the Eagles offense. But I think it's good to have some fresh blood in the conversation, some new opportunities, some new guys, maybe that can win their first MVP. But Lamar is always going to be in that conversation. He is, that team, and him pairing with Derrick Henry, man, has been dangerous. You got two guys that you got to really game plan for, and, it's hard to do that. You got a game plan for a running back and a quarterback who can run, pass. So, but yeah, the MVP conversation is heating up. I wouldn't be mad whoever won. I think they're all deserving. Josh Allen's definitely having a special year, though. It would be cool to see him win one. As we're getting towards playoff conversations, there's a lot of talk about home field advantage. I think the most important thing when you're looking at playoff, conversations is the number one seed. Getting the number one seed and having that first week bye. Only having to win 3 games to win the Super Bowl versus 4 games is huge. It's like, it's everything. It's, rest for your players to gear up for the following week. You have an advantage there. It's the, percentages show that, teams who get that first round bye go to the Super Bowl at higher rates and win Super Bowls at higher rates. So it's everything. And so, with Pat dealing with an ankle injury, I think other AFC teams, specifically the Bills, are looking at that as an opportunity, to try to sneak in and get that number 1 seed if he's not able to play. But, I haven't seen it yet. He's had a bunch of ankle injuries throughout the years. And he's always came back from them and played better sometimes on them. So, who knows? But I know as we're getting towards playoff conversations, that number 1 seed is very important. So there's going to be teams gunning for it. And even in the NFC as well, too, the Eagles and the Lions gunning for position. And I think the Eagles are looking at an opportunity as well, too, with all the injuries to the Lions are having, which just sucks because they're having an amazing season as well too. So it's getting close. It's definitely getting interesting. The NFC North was a division that, even before the season, I thought was going to do very well. Having the Lions, having the Packers, 2 playoff teams last year. And then I kind of was sleeping on the Vikings. I actually thought the Bears were going to have a pretty good season and a better season than they were having and be more competitive, which, I think they're kind of on the road to doing. But the Vikings was really the shocker, I think, this season for how they've come out and this type of season that they're having. So for already a team with two playoff teams last year in the division to now add a third one is very rare. That division is stacked. So they're going to make some noise for sure. They're having great seasons, but it's time. You really want to be playing your best football in November, December, and January down this stretch. So we're going to see how things shake out. But having 3 playoff teams from the division is definitely rare, especially teams with records like this. And it's a division that I thought was going to be pretty good, but the Vikings were definitely the sleeper, and I think they kind of put that division over the top. Around this time as well, too, you look back on all the expectations, and, I've been in the playoffs a bunch, and I've got into the playoffs, kind of snuck in there, been number 1 seeds, kind of all different situations. When you look at the beginning of the season, all the expectations, all the, fans, excitement, players, organizations, excitement. Oh, we want to be this. We're going to do this. It all boils up to this, time of the year, and you really get to see how things unfold. And there's always sleepers. There's always shockers. There's always, big expectations that don't become realized. And, I think what's going on in the NFC West specifically is something that people really didn't expect. Obviously, I think kind of people expected the Niners to be on top of that division. And, it's been up and down throughout the entire season for all those teams. The Cardinals showed flashes. The Niners have showed flashes, dealt with injuries. The Rams dealt with injuries early in the season and come back healthy now, and they're top of the division. Seattle started off the season kind of slow, was playing really elite football. Now they've dealt with some injuries, so you never really know what to expect, but that's why it's always important to keep fighting and keep going. It's a tight race over there. It's going to come down to the wire, so, we'll see how it shakes out, but that's why it's always funny and interesting to me to see like all the excitement and the expectations and, oh, these teams are going to be this, and then, you got to wait till this time of year to really see what teams become, and this is where you want to be your best. So we'll see how things shake out there. Big conversation going on in the league as well, too. Speaking about the NFC West is, what happened with Campbell in the game where he left the game in the third quarter. The report was that he didn't want to play, didn't want to enter the game. So a lot of thoughts there. Obviously, one, the return of Dre Greenlaw. I definitely was watching that game, was obviously a teammate of his for many years, in the game where he got hurt in the Super Bowl. And, to see him come back was amazing. I've been praying for him, wishing him well. And I know how much football means to him. I know how much he wanted to be out there. And so to see him come back in that fashion, playing amazing as well, too, looking better than ever, playing with his hair on fire like he always does, was great to see. And then, the Campbell situation happened. And, I really wish that he would come out and speak on it. I think people are I don't know if everyone is kind of wanting to hear from him, but I definitely am. wanted to hear from him and, kind of what happened, what he was feeling, what his thoughts were, because, I try to give people grace in situations that, I haven't necessarily been in myself really. And, I know a lot of people go through different things mentally and everyone handles situations differently. And so I would love to hear, his perspective and kind of what he was thinking or why he made the decision that he made. It's never a good decision. We as football players, our camaraderie, our brotherhood is special. It's a special bond that we get afforded to by playing this game. And that's built over time. You build rapport with people. You go through shared adversity together. You've been through stuff and it really molds you guys together. And I think the most special part about being in the NFL is the relationships with your teammates. Those are the things that when you're done playing, you're never going to forget. You're always going to remember the people. You might forget some games, you might forget some scores, you might forget what happened, blah, 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 but you're never going to forget your teammates, the guys that you bonded with, shared many great moments with, shared tough times with. And so I would never want to intentionally make a decision to impact that and negatively impact that and kind of break that brotherhood and break that bond. And I'm sure, he might not have been thinking that he was doing that in that moment, but I would love to, hear what he was thinking or how he was feeling and why he made the decision that he made, just to give someone a opportunity to give some perspective before condemning them to, being whatever you want them to be. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Definitely, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see, those special bonds that get made from being teammates be broken. But I would love to hear from him. I don't think he said anything. I don't think he's come out and kind of talked about it. And, people are just talking about him and saying whatever they feel about him, how they think about it. So, but I would love to hear from him and see kind of what his thought and, why he made the decision that he made. But those bonds are so special. I would never want to do anything intentionally to break them, because I think that's the best part about what we do is those relationships that you make and those teammates that you share the field with. Some more big news, national news. Obviously, Mike Vick is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, well known by everyone. Some people's favorite quarterback of all time. Took the league by storm. But his name is in the news spotlight once again for not being a player, obviously, but now he's in the coaching ranks. And big news for me and people that I know and people that I love in the city that I love, Sacramento. Mike Vick's name has been in conversations for being the next head coach at Sacramento State. So that might not be a big deal to you guys, but it's a big deal to me. I'm from Sacramento, love being from there, love my city, love Sac State. It's where my parents went to college. That's the reason my family has been in Sacramento. Is because my parents first went to college there, and that's where they met, and that's where they decided to start a family. And then we recruited other family members, my parents did, to live in Sacramento. So that's why I'm a Sacramento native, and it's due to Sac State. I've always loved Sac State. I do my football camps at Sac State. I train at Sac State. So when I'm in town in Sacramento. And so this is huge news for us. I think the college football landscape has changed tremendously. And with NIL and the younger generations, I think you need a name like Mike Vick to, stir the pot up a little bit, have a little bit of change, a name that resonates with people. You see what other colleges are doing. You see the success that Deion has had in Colorado. You see North Carolina, hiring Bill Belichick. Eddie George is coaching at Tennessee State and having some success. So there's guys, former players that are entering the coaching ranks and making some splashes, and coaches with big names. And Mike Vick could just be that name to make some things happen in Sacramento. Sac State, they have been having some good teams throughout the years, winning their division. Their last great season, their head coach left to Stanford, Troy Taylor. So getting a coach in there, especially with NIL in place to, shake some things up, I'm all for it. My agent is neighbors with Vic, so I told him to text him like, hey, if you go to Sac State, I'm all in on helping you do whatever I need to build the program. Because when Sac State does well, when their football team, their school becomes better, we all as Sacramento natives do better. Our city grows. Our city is better. So I'm all for it. sent a text to the president at Sac State, Dr. Woods. You know, me and him have been in conversation. Some exciting news coming up on that as well, too, with AAP, our nonprofit, and Sac State partnering on some really cool things. So I've been talking to him about that, but also I talked to him about the Mike Vick news. And, you know, they said they're going to go through the process and see what happens. But I think people are excited about it. Obviously, a big name like that brings a little bit of excitement to the process. It's not just the traditional coach name that, you know, no one really ever heard of. So I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool to see. If they do end up making that hiring, like I said, I'm all on board to help build the program. And, you know, there's a new stadium coming to Sac State, new football stadium. So a lot of exciting things going on there, which I'm excited to help and be a part of. Appreciate you tuning in to another episode of Third and Long. I'm Arik Armstead. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you following along this entire season. It doesn't go unnoticed. You know, this show is for you. So you tapping in and still watching and still appreciating, you know, the content that's being provided. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on another episode of Third and Long.